the governor's veto of the land restitution bill and what the latest is with her projects to reclaim land across the nation. And of course, right now it's every other Friday. So the KBLA correspondent and labor activist Sherri Bell joins us in the studio. Good morning, Sherri.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, everybody out there listening. Hope we'll have a great Friday and a good weekend.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, well, it's not the last weekend. We have 2 more weekends before the election.
Ugh,
So
yeah.
this is a very get out the votey kind of weekend, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm trying to put in my little volunteer hours wherever I can. Yesterday I did some phone banking for Heather Hudd. Tomorrow,
How'd that go?
it was the easiest phone banking ever because everybody that was in support. I was calling like around this neighborhood, the Crenshaw district, so everybody was in support. I was like, this is a piece of cake. I phone banked for Kamala, but in Nevada, and that was a whole different experience. That was very very telling about the mindset of voters in that state. I don't know who I was calling. Were these people who were just like, like the category? But it was a tough session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be. Isn't Trump polling slightly ahead in Nevada, or it's dead even?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Nevada. If you can travel there or call there,
Oh,
it's great.
yeah. It was good. I mean,
I know it's tough, but
I
you feel
mean,
like you were able to convince anyone?
I tried, right? There sometimes people's positions on certain things defies logic.
Yeah.
Right, like you can pull
Yeah.
up. Well, what has she done? And I, name all the opportunity economy points and how it impact them. And I'm like, well, could you name like a policy that Donald Trump has proposed that will impact you on your day to day life that will cause you to vote for him? Like, he said he's going to put Elon Musk in the head of the government. That
Oh
was
my
that
goodness.
was the
Right. So if you think that's a good idea, you might not be convincible.
That's what I'm saying. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the people who are quote unquote like undecided, or I think people get angry with them with you if you counter argue points with like real data and facts, as opposed to like a ideology based on non factual based
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
They get frustrated and angry. We're just not voting for him, okay? That's what somebody in the back came,
Yeah.
voted for her. I mean,
Yeah. Phone banking can be tough
no.
because depends who you're calling, I guess.
Oh boy.
But but still, you never know. Something you said might resonate later in the day or later in the week, or even if it doesn't, we're putting our orders into the universe that we would like to have a different outcome.
Yeah. Like I was listening to your show earlier this week, and there was a guest on here who was opposed to Prop 6, but through talking to her and politically providing some political education, they reversed their position on the proposition. So sometimes our efforts don't fall on deaf ears. Sometimes we could get people to see a broader perspective. So I guess we got to keep those conversations going.
Are you a Dodger fan, Sherri?
Yes, I am. I mean, I don't really watch baseball, but I'm like LA based. It's like
Right. Yeah, you're a LA fan. Yeah, I
hmm
mean, I'm always happy when LA is thriving.
exactly.
That's a good thing to me, and they're in the World Series. But I guess it's a crazy weekend. It's
hmm
stuff stacked up. If you can Netflix and chill this weekend, or Dodgers and chill, that would
Right.
be a great time to do it. I guess there's different watch parties and things.
Yes.
But I did see a couple of advisories, just because it's not only the Dodger game, it's meant to be a traffic nightmare.
hmm
I guess there's the Crosstown Classic high school
Yeah.
football
East
game.
LA Classic. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was such a huge. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't
hmm
know it was like such a big draw of
Yeah.
people. Yeah, so, and there's a bunch of other stuff going on. Let's see. The Laker game
hmm
at 7 uh, here at Crypto. Trojans
Oh
at the
gosh.
Coliseum at 8, the USC game. And then the Every Blue Wale at the Wiltern.
Oh
What?
wow.
The Greek Theater War.
I mean,
And then Dodger Stadium. That's all that is happening tonight.
look, first of all, it's a great sign of the local economy improving. People are working, but it's kind of like the airport. You probably got to get there like 2-3 hours early.
I don't know what Cosiado Enfocado tour is, but that's at the YouTube Theater tonight.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Jeff Lynne's ELO, I don't know what that is either.
And it's all today.
That's rock and roll at the Kia Forum. These are all tonight.
Wow.
Dave Gilmore at the Intuit Dome, Luck and Strange tour. That's rock and roll.
Intuit. Okay.
And then the East LA Classic, Garfield High versus Roosevelt High. That's at SoFi. It's finna be ugly.
Yes, because a lot of these places are super close together.
Right.
You know, like Crypto, where the Trojans play are super close, and then YouTube, SoFi, Intuit, they're all in the same area.
I mean, it's basically from Inglewood to downtown, and parts of South LA are just going to be completely crowded.
Yeah.
So.
On top of the normal Friday horrible traffic.
Oh, and plus some folks think it's Halloween.
Yeah, they're going to celebrate. Well, hopefully not tonight.
Shoot, it's going to be scary. I know that much. It was scary you sitting in your car, but it would be very scary. I can't do it.
No way. Staying in the house. Stay inside, folks, if you can. Get you a nice movie and some popcorn.
Right. Get your sandwich supplies now.
Right.
Because you ain't going to want to be driving out to get nothing.
Too much. You think driving is stressful already?
It is, but I mean, you've been more look, tell a friend, because these are the things where you're like, oh, it's just a Dodger game, and then you go out and there's traffic coming from all sides. You can literally be there for hours.
Not to mention, if I was a Dodgers fan, I would want to be at a watch party at a bar somewhere having fun, because it's like you're a part of the excitement, because the tickets are super high, right? So not only is Dodger Stadium, but all these little surrounding, bars and watch parties are going to have crowds drawn too.
Okay. So look, Halloween is technically next Thursday, but I think because they're going to be celebrating this weekend and next weekend and Thursday. So, okay, you've been warned.
No invites. No party invites yet.
Yeah. Okay. I want to start some stuff today, but not too much stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to give your recommendations on anything. I know we already talked about Prop 6. We're both yes on that one.
Yes on 6. And it'll be really sad if this proposition does not pass, because there's no opposition to it.
Yeah, but there's this polling that came out. The Public Policy Institute shows it's losing.
That's horrible.
By a lot.
It's very sad and upsetting that, human suffering and, real rehabilitation is not a priority for, voting Californians. And, it's a complicated thought process that many voters go through, and the morals that people possess and values about how humans should be treated is very concerning.
Well, listening to our guest earlier this week, I mean, she was talking about, look, you did a crime, you should have to work. It's not a summer camp. That's what she said.
Right.
But like, as you mentioned, she changed her mind during the course of the conversation, and probably she'd been thinking about it before the conversation. They're saying 56%, according to the Public Policy Institute, said no on Prop 6. So that means if you vote no, that means you
are for it.
You want involuntary servitude inside the prison industrial complex. You want to make prisons a profit center for corporations and private prison investors.
Exactly.
At the expense of people who are trying to turn their lives around and get rehabilitated.
Right. And that's been the major talking point of the Yes on 6 campaign, is that people are pulled away from their rehabilitation programs in order to do forced labor. And, how are we supposed to put the rehabilitation in the CDCR, if you're not allowing people to reduce recidivism rates, right? It's all about reducing recidivism to ensure that people don't go back in there, and that you have members of society who don't have to turn back to crime. So the logic behind people who are opposed to this doesn't make sense.
Well, unless they're profiting off prison labor, but I just don't think 56% of voters are. I think they must not understand it
They must not.
because I mean, I just don't see I just don't see a strong argument in favor holding up to any scrutiny at all.
Right. Let me pull it up because I'm gonna look how it's worded on here to see how somebody could not be clear about what it is.
Yeah.
It says eliminates constitutional provision allowing involuntary servitude for incarcerated persons. Amends the California Constitution to remove the current provision that allows jails and prisons to impose involuntary servitude to punish crime, i.e., forcing people to work. So it doesn't really lift up the rehabilitation part in this, and that's the concerning part, right?
Yeah, that's true, but
But you would think that would
as
be
much
enough,
conversation
right?
as we've had about slavery,
right, people,
the 13th Amendment allowing slavery in prison,
right?
it, I don't. Yeah, it baffles my mind. I don't know. The fact that these conservative states like Louisiana have been able to pass this, but this is our second shot. Well, hopefully the polls are wrong.
Hopefully the polls are wrong and
Woo!
people have a moral compass. And I mean, the opponent and the fiscal impact isn't really like a stark, like alarming, like, you know.
I mean, the thing is, the thing that doesn't make any sense, and I keep saying this, is what we're doing is we, the taxpayers, are paying $120K a year to keep someone in prison,
Right.
so that a corporation can pay them 12 cents
right,
an hour.
Right. So who's really losing?
We're paying so a corporation can pay sub-minimum wage. We don't benefit from that.
Exactly.
The corporations do. And the thing that really stresses me out about this is that you can never end recidivism as long as it's profitable for prisons and corporations to keep people in longer and longer so they can use them for slave labor.
Yeah, and
it's a conflict of interest.
It's a huge conflict of interest, and it's very another huge conflict of interest is that when they get out, they you know, I know we have a ban the box ordinance in the state of California, but you know, sometimes people are discriminated against because they serve time, and you can work for these corporations while you're incarcerated, but when you get out, you're not good enough to work for them, and it's just a huge
Jamie Kazee
issue.
says, Prop 6, my mom says everyone must work. She can't get that out of her head. And she's a Democrat. Okay, well, and I think that's the mindset that Dr. Milligan had too. But for me, it's everyone must get paid if they work. Otherwise, it's slavery.
Right.
You want to force people to work and then pay them the minimum wage.
Yeah.
I might be okay with that. I still have problems with it, but all right. 800-920-1580 if you want to come on in this convo. But yes on 6, people.
Yes on
Tell
6.
a friend. Jamie, get your mama on the phone. Let's talk her off the ledge.
Let's make slavery illegal across the board.
KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Which superhero movie is this?
This is my favorite part, when they all come together in the name of justice.
You know, you could do that too.
Oh yeah? How?
What you just described is what happens when Black folks vote.
Mm-hmm.
When we come together and vote using our power, we win and get leaders who will protect our rights, lower housing costs.
All right, let's go together.
Yeah?
I mean, we gotta unite in the name of justice.
And vote like our lives depend on it.
Paid for by NAACP.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
So we'll be hearing from the DA today, but it's really talking about his advisory committee, and we'll have at least one member of that committee here. But I've already talked election with both Nathan Hochman and DA George Gascon. If you want to hear them, you can get them wherever you get your podcasts. They're on our YouTube. But your thoughts on the DA's race?
Well, in the news, you might have heard about DA Gascon resentencing the Menendez brothers, based on evidence that wasn't included in their second trial. And Nathan Hochman has come out with a statement criticizing this timing of his decision as a political move. And, it kind of like hints to a lot of the hypocrisy that goes on in politics, whereas Nathan Hochman came out in support of Kamala Harris. Supposedly, right? And is not a registered Republican as he was in the past. So, people do things for political clout and advantage. So I feel like very pot meets kettle-ish of him to come out with this type of statement,
I mean, the other thing is the DA's office has been working on this case for a year.
Right,
it's not like he just popped up and said, let me just resentence the Menendez brothers. An investigation has to happen. They have to look into the new evidence. It's not just like, it's Thursday, think I'll resentence the Menendez brothers.
Right.
And anyway, they were saying the same thing about some other decision the DA made. Oh, it's political. Well, you know what? So you want him to stop doing his job?
Right.
Like he's supposed to stop being DA because it's election season? No, thank you. We need him to keep doing his job until it's not his job anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a recommendation in the district attorney's race?
Yeah. I mean, like it's been said before, DA Gascon is implementing his campaign promises, right? Voters put him in office to put some reforms on how the DA was turning a blind eye to, police violence against unarmed, Black and brown Angelinos. Also, harsh, sentencing for, minor offenses. And he's doing what he said. He's standing up to status quo. And what that means is that a lot of his colleagues are not in support of him, but I feel like I support DA Gascon because he is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. I think that there's a lot of misleading talking points in his opponent's position where that DA Gascon eliminated cash bail. I believe the voters actually voted for that, right? Is that accurate?
The voters have voted for it, and I believe that was actually the LA County Board of Supervisors who implements that, who approve that policy. Then it goes to the judges to implement it. So that's not within the power of the district attorney's office.
Right. So another misleading misinformation. I'm like, where is the FCC at with all these false claims and these advertisements?
Yeah, that's like Prop 33. I mean, and I was asking one of our lawmakers about that, and he said, well, there's no law against if you I mean, it's weird. In politics, there's no law against false advertising. I think if you have a skin cream and you say this will turn you rich, then maybe you can be sued. I don't know. But apparently in political advertising, you can say anything.
Really? That law needs to be changed immediately because it's misleading people to vote against their better interests. Everything else is held to that standard. I don't understand. Yeah.
Mo Betta Media's in the chat saying Biden should still be doing his job as well. And guess what? He is. He just eliminated another 1 million people's student loan debt last week.
Put some respect on that man's name. He doing some things now.
I mean, you don't have to put you respect him, you don't respect him, but he's still doing his job.
Yeah.
And he's doing, more than that other guy that y'all want to vote for who was golfing more than any known president. I shouldn't say y'all. I know y'all know better. Oh my gosh,
the comments that he's making now on stage about people's private areas and how his supporters are calling him daddy, and it's just a real circus, a media circus, and it just highlights the fact that people turn a blind eye to bias, right? People are biased, and when they see things like this media circus that goes on with the outlandish comments that Trump and his supporters are saying, they are not held to the same standard as Kamala Harris. It's just baffling to me, and it underscores the reason why we need intentional policy that addresses these biases, like for instance, the Black Student Achievement Plan. They're trying to remove the B out of the BSAP. Why? Right? There's discrimination happening every day, and the achievement scores of these Black students at LAUSD were lower than any other student. So why not have intentional policy to address it? But it's all connected, right? People's mentality and what they're willing to acknowledge and not acknowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the alternate realities that folks are living in at this point. And whether or not that's something that can be penetrated, we shall see. 800-920-1580. We've got news, traffic, and sports right now, and then more unapologetically progressive conversation on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. The 3 men convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery are asking for a new trial. Father and son Travis and Gregory McMichael and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan were back in a Georgia courthouse for a hearing on their request. Southwest Airlines says it will restructure its board's leadership after reaching a settlement with Elliott Investment Management. The announcement comes after Fort Worth-based American Airlines was issued a $50 million fine over allegations of the mistreatment of passengers with disabilities. President Biden is expected to formally apologize for the U.S. government's role in Indian boarding schools during a speech today in Arizona. Over a 150-year span, the U.S. government managed or paid religious groups and churches to operate the boarding school across nearly 40 states. And the first trailer is being released for the upcoming comedy One of Them Days. The film stars Keke Palmer and R&B singer SZA as 2 roommates that go to extreme measures to pay the rent. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams got 4 touchdown passes Thursday night from quarterback Matthew Stafford to beat Minnesota 30-20. One of the touchdown passes was a 7-yard toss to Cooper Kupp, who was in the lineup for the first time since week 1. Wide receiver Puka Nacua, out since week 2, also made his return. He had 7 catches for 106 yards. The Rams defense did not allow a touchdown in the second half. It's game 1 of the World Series tonight at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers and the Yankees in the Fall Classic for the first time since 1981. This is the 12th time these two historic franchises have met in the World Series. The rivalry has generated 26 Hall of Famers, 10 Cy Young Award winners, and 18 MVPs. For all the OGs out there, this is like the Lakers and Celtics going at it in the NBA Finals. First pitch today at 5:08. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Politics has become so messy lately, it's hard to find a reason to be hopeful. Hi, my name is Shakira. I'd like to tell you why Adam Schiff gives me hope. My parents raised me to take my right to vote seriously, so I try to stay on top of what's going on. I saw Adam Schiff lead the impeachment and insurrection hearings. He seemed like someone I could believe in. Then I actually met him at the MLK parade in South Central LA this year. Adam listened. He cared. I got to see who he is. He understands the struggle we have with the cost of living, all the parents working extra shifts and taking second jobs to get by. He gets a threat to our democracy and our freedoms. Adam Schiff knows how tough things really are for a lot of us, and I believe he's going to do something about it. It gives me hope, but hope isn't enough. We need to vote for Adam Schiff for Senate.
I'm Adam Schiff, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Schiff for Senate.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Absolutely. It is a Friedman Friday. And you're welcome to call in early if you got something to say about reparations or anything else. Now's the perfect time. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. So, okay, you had some conversation about the judges, and we haven't spent enough time. Wait, Paul Lee, he's Mr. Information in the chat saying Costco is recalling salmon over concerns lists about listeria. Boy, this listeria thing is everywhere. It doesn't make me want to have a burger or anything. Anyway, so yeah, like, I don't know, maybe become vegan for a week or two or a month or two.
Trying to defrost what's in the freezer.
Could get home. You're probably more hygienic than any restaurant. I hope so. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, so you wanted to talk judges. Let me go. Judges. Let's see. Seat 39. You already have your ballot marked. You want to talk about what your choices are, or how do you want to do this?
Well, you know,
Seat 39. I'm going for George Turner.
Yeah,
he was one of the defenders.
That's what I'm saying. Defenders of justice, like that slate. You know what I'm saying? I did some research on them in the primary, and I kind of, went with them this time around as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah. They're public defenders, which already tells you that they have a different point of view than the average judge.
Right.
And it's an area where we need balance. So that's seat 39.
But there is one non-public defender that I did vote for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, let's do seat 48. Erica Wiley.
Yeah.
That's who I got.
That's who I have as well.
Who's her opponent?
Renee Rose.
Oh, yeah, I do remember her. I did talk to her. Yeah, Erica Wiley, again, is part of the Defenders of Justice. Again, and I think it's so dope that these folks made it through to the general, because it's very rare for a public defender to sit on the bench. Very, very rare.
Yeah, they have some good. I like the fact that they had mailers and it was a slate of judges, which makes it easy for people to just be like, bah, bah, bah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, a couple of these other seats are tricky.
Right.
You got seat 97, Lachey Henderson, who was a public defender for 18 years and is endorsed. This is seat 97 by Ground Game, LA. That was, and again, even though she wasn't part of Defenders, I liked her.
Okay, well, this is where we differ. I did go with Sharon Ransom.
Actually, yeah, go ahead, because I actually also really liked Sharon Ransom.
Yeah. I mean, because she's from the community. I actually know somebody that knows her personally, and
yeah, I just liked her.
Yeah, and to be honest, we need good people on the prosecutor side.
But the thing that sucks about that is, why are both of those good options over on one seat?
I know, right?
Yeah, I think that I haven't voted yet, but I actually do think I'm going to vote for Sharon Ransom.
Yeah, it's crazy because I just realized, like, from phone banking, that early voting actually starts Saturday. Like, I don't know why I thought it started already, because people have been mailing in their absentee ballots already. But like in-person voting actually starts Saturday.
I thought it started already too.
Yeah, me too.
But I know you can vote now. You can take your mail-in ballot, throw it in the box.
That's right.
And I think it's the 28th is. Well, they're asking that you mail it by the 28th. Technically, as long as it's in by Election Day. But I just feel like you want to give your ballot enough time to get there if you're going to go through the regular mail. Yeah. And if not, you should drop it in a county drop box.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to vote, but don't be part of the reason why it's taking 2 weeks to get the election votes. Because they're counting all these.
Because this is going to be ugly right now. Okay. Office number 135 is Stephen Yee Mack versus Georgia Huerta. Yeah, it's Stephen Yee. Mack appears to be quite progressive. He's a deputy DA. He's endorsed by the LA Times. But based on my interviews, I'm going to be voting for Georgia Huerta.
And I do have her bubbled in on my sample ballot.
Yeah, those judge interviews are still up there. Also, you can just type it in on YouTube and find it. she, in this case, they're both prosecutors. But I just based on the conversations, and that was a tough one, actually. Again, I wish that Stephen Yee Mack was in another running against somebody else. And then what's the last one that you were sort of 137?
Yeah, I didn't have this one filled out. It was blank.
Okay, that's who are the two?
Luz Herrera and Tracy Blount.
Right. So both of those folks came on this show in the primary. And it's funny because a couple of the progressive slates have no recommendation for 137. But I just based on my conversations, I'm going with Blount.
Okay. Yeah, I had her circled, but not like actually bubbled in.
But again, those conversations are still up,
so people can.
So if you want to hear, for yourself, she worked in dependency court in LA County Dependency Court, according to the LA Times, and has been an appellate attorney. I liked her. I liked her demeanor. I liked her, what does they call it? A judge-like temperament. Kind of seemed like she didn't seem like a person that would be a hothead or, an ego-tripping judge.
Yeah, judges are very important. Like, they can be life-changing. They can make decisions that, will impact somebody's life for life or death,
including your own. I mean, you never know, right? You really don't. You don't know when you'll be standing in front of a judge.
Exactly.
Life is a trip.
Yep. Like, give me a chance. It was my first time, like, hey, you get the right judge, they might send you to get some treatment or rehabilitate you, have some empathy.
Right. They might understand what your challenges are, what drove you there. And also, I mean, it's also point of view. I just think we need more black people and more women on the bench. Not just from a counting DEI standpoint, but also from like the standpoint of how you see life, what you're dealing with,
vantage point.
Yeah. Just having more moms on the bench seems smart to me. Like, because you're going to deal with a mom and you're going to understand what it takes to hold down a job and get your kids to school on time, and, and how kids are when they're teenagers,
Right.
I think cops and judges, if you've never had a teenager, you should be forced to live with one you love before you pass judgment or shooting anybody or sentencing anybody.
Yeah, a diverse perspective of opinions and life experiences. Like, everybody doesn't have to be like the judges in the Constitution with the white wigs, like George Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we've got Carl from LA on the phone. Hi, Carl.
Yeah, hey, I'm here. How you doing? Hey, look, when's Dr. Horn coming on? Maybe he can give us some answers to North Korea sliding in here with Russia.
He's currently not on the calendar, but stay tuned. We can't have Dr. Horn on every week. He has a job, and he's writing a book. But we'll get him back as soon as possible.
Okay, great. Hey, these judges, Dominique, Johnny Cochran was the best one to go into a courtroom and sit down with a judge if you had a criminal case. I mean, he was the expert on it. I mean, the Godfather in the movie showed everybody, he had all the judges in his pocket. Hey, but look, my question is about Dr. Rosie Milligan. I enjoyed the show yesterday. She was talking about poverty, and I was talking to some other people about poverty, and they telling me it's my fault. My veterans check got messed up. My Social Security's messed up. I don't have a 401k. I didn't finish paying on a house. All kind of stuff. They say it's my fault for being in poverty. What's your take on it? Maybe I can get an answer to that. Is it really my fault that the government ain't taking care of the people in poverty? what's going on with the reparations?
Well, I mean, of course, we all have personal responsibility, but some of us face more obstacles than others. And as a veteran, you're certainly in that category. And I, where I stand. Sherri, you want to talk about it?
I mean, yeah, I feel like this is not a bootstrap economy. Everybody isn't able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and be in a financial position to have, wealth and, homes that have, that you can build equity. There was a lot of systemic disadvantages that were placed, roadblocks in our way, right? So being a veteran and being a Black veteran at that, you face more obstacles than probably a non-Black veteran. And, so those things have to be taken into account when you're thinking about policy and how it impacts people. You have to look at it through a racial equity lens, number one. And number two, this economy isn't really designed for a free market where everybody has the opportunity to open a business and get equity and get capital to do everything easily. We don't all have the same vantage point. So it is not all your fault. It's not all your fault. Absolutely not.
And when I say where I stand, I think we should have a universal basic income as a floor. And that we should have a universal basic housing as a floor so that no one is unhoused and no one is starving. And then if you want to make more, if you want to have you call that socialism, I'm good with that. If you want to get your hustle on, start a business, and accumulate wealth, I think people should have the opportunity to do that as long as they're paying their fair share in taxes. But nobody should be falling into the streets in one of the richest countries in the world. So I'm looking at La Defensa recommendation on those two judges that we just talked about. It's kind of interesting. We'll talk about that when we come forward. Maybe it's not a settled decision. Uh-oh. Oh, looks like it might be, though. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Politics has become so messy lately, it's hard to find a reason to be hopeful. Hi, my name is Shakira. I'd like to tell you why Adam Schiff gives me hope. My parents raised me to take my right to vote seriously, so I try to stay on top of what's going on. I saw Adam Schiff lead the impeachment and insurrection hearings. He seemed like someone I could believe in. Then I actually met him at the MLK parade in South Central LA this year. Adam listened. He cared. I got to see who he is. He understands the struggle we have with the cost of living, all the parents working extra shifts and taking second jobs to get by. He gets a threat to our democracy and our freedoms. Adam Schiff knows how tough things really are for a lot of us, and I believe he's going to do something about it. It gives me hope. But hope isn't enough. We need to vote for Adam Schiff for Senate.
I'm Adam Schiff, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Schiff for Senate.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You can even just... With impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains, Chevy Silverado, the first ever Silverado EV, Colorado and Tahoe have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together let's drive. 0% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 9.3%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/24.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Spend an evening with Ambassador Susan E. Rice at Pomona College on Saturday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. for the John A. Payton Distinguished Lectureship. Ambassador Rice is the only person ever to have served as both National Security Advisor and Domestic Policy Advisor. This event is free and open to the public, but tickets are required. Visit pomona.edu/Payton-ticket to reserve tickets now.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
KBLA Talk 1580. Sherri is with me, Sherri Bell. She's a contributor here and a labor organizer. I was looking at La Defensa because they have a slate and they're very progressive. But this, I don't know. I don't agree with everything on this slate. Well, I rarely agree with everything on any slate. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at the LA Superior Court judges, and they're on the same page with us as far as Erica Wiley and George Turner. They're endorsing both of them. They're defenders of justice. But then in the Lachey Henderson, they're recommending Lachey Henderson. I guess I read that wrong. For Office 97. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's a game changer, but they are recommending her because I'm basing my I don't know. Again, I have Lachey down for seat 97, so I guess that is recommended. But where they're neutral is Stephen Mack versus Georgia Huerta. Mm-hmm. They give it a meh rating. Again, they're both DAs, but based on the conversation,
right? Exactly.
I chose Georgia Huerta.
Yeah, that's important. Like what somebody says in real time on the fly, answering the tough questions that I know you pose to them, like. That speaks volume.
Plus, she led the Alternative Sentencing and Community Collaborative Court at Compton.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's her restorative justice piece. I don't know why they would not have, maybe, I don't know. Maybe because he seemed to be pretty decent, too. And then in the Luz Herrera versus Tracy Blunt. They're neutral here too. I don't know. Again, I'm going with Blunt. And she also worked on child abuse and neglect and family law. She's from the county counsel's office, which is not quite the same as being a DA. I don't know. I can see why they would. She's endorsed by the Association of LA County Sheriff Deputies, which gives you pause. Blunt.
Oh.
But also, and the DA's Association, which would give me pause.
Yeah.
But also, Democratic clubs.
Oh, okay.
And Herrera has labor unions and some Democratic clubs too, so I can see why you might be back and forth with that one. I'm just basing it on my conversation, but I don't even think doesn't even seem like law enforcement should be weighing in on judges.
Right? That seems a little conflict of interest-y.
Yeah, a lot conflict of interest. And again, we were talking off air that they don't have an endorsement. They're not endorsing Heather Hutt over Grace Yu, which I find very troubling.
Yes,
exactly. Since Grace Yu, has an active history of being anti-homeless,
right?
Of taking action to stop housing for the unhoused and affordable housing projects.
Yes, like they have an opportunity here to make a recommendation for a candidate that has done some good for the community, as opposed to leaving it up in the air for people to vote for somebody who we barely know anything about, who we don't really know their politics or experience like that. So that's kind of like dangerous.
They say Yu is more explicit in her belief that social workers and community outreach teams, not police, should address homelessness. But why is she blocking housing then for the unhoused in her district. That sounds like you're just taking her word for it rather than looking at her track record.
Telling the people what they want to hear.
And they don't like her. They don't like Heather Hutt's slogan, "Potholes, not politics." They say Heather Hutt supports a strong housing first approach. I think you have to look at her actions while she's in office. Yeah. She shows up. She's accessible to the people. She gets things done.
Yep.
And they say they're worried that she'll increase funding for law enforcement under the guise of reform. But Grace Yu is the one. She says we need we need more LAPD to bring down violent crime. So that doesn't seem like a fair assessment to me.
Yeah, that doesn't at all. It's very unfortunate that they took that stance.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's one of many voter guides you are looking at, because they do have good information, right?
But there be people who don't support Heather Hutt, and they're leaving room for people like Grace Yu, who have these questionable politics and actions, I should say, are opening up the door for people who. I live in City Council District 10, so you're so you're opening up the door for like more expensive development and really like honestly. What I feel based on Heather Hutt's actions is that she's trying to make sure that no city council district member is left behind. Based on what you just mentioned about Grace, I'm not so sure that she will care about people who live in Baldwin Village being able to have the same amount of services as people who probably will be living in these new developments that she might greenlight. Yeah,
I think that's a fair point. And I also think when you talk about we need more police to focus on violent crime in a district where gentrification is happening probably faster than any other district in LA. That means, to me, that's code for policing us out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. You can't, if you get me out of here, if I'm in jail, my apartment is getting vacant and it's getting all that. Yeah.
Code violations and this and that.
Right.
So, you're priced out, pushed out in the neighborhood. What do you want to say to people? I mean, you're admirable. You're out here phone banking and everything.
Yeah,
what do you want to say to
people
do
my part.
This election season?
Well, I just want to say, talk to your loved ones. Make sure they vote. Have those tough conversations. People can see the light and realize things that are in their best interest. And also just know that in the words of Kendrick Lamar, we gonna be all right.
That is very true. And you were talking about the LA Times. I know we just got a little time here, but not making an endorsement. Of Kamala Harris,
right?
And then kind of hitting people and hiding their hands,
right? The resignations speak for themselves.
What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of the editorial staff and people are resigning because the owner decided not to endorse Kamala Harris. The first time in about 20 some odd years that the LA Times have not made a recommendation for president, and it speaks volumes to the owner's politics.
And then the owner puts out this kind of totally incoherent tweet that's like creating a new standard for what the LA Times has never done before. Just like there's a new standard for, boo. I know a lot of folks are dropping their subscriptions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like giving very like, we know who you voting for. No, I'm just playing.
Sherri Bell, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for being in the chat and listening and watching.
At Sherri De La Ghetto on Instagram. You can find me, DiPrima Radio and KBLA Talk 1580. News, traffic, and sports. Then it's Freedmen Fridays on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The 3 men convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery are asking for a new trial. Father and son Travis and Gregory McMichael and their neighbor William Roddy Bryce. President Biden is expected to formally apologize for the U.S. government's role in Indian boarding schools during a speech today in Arizona.